somebody comes to me, if I'm talking to somebody and telling them something as traumatic as abuse, and they ask me, why do you stay? That feels a little bit like a judgment. That feels a little bit like, well, how can you put up with that? I wouldn't put up with that. Or a little bit like, I don't understand that. You are not someone I can understand staying in that position. And that shuts off communication right there. So why don't we ask a better question? Why don't we ask, why does someone hit? Why is that so easy to understand? That you would batter and abuse and insult someone you promised to love and honor, someone that's maybe the mother of your children, someone that you're supposed to support and protect. Is that so easy to understand? Is that such a familiar concept? Why don't we ask that? Let's put the blame where it belongs. Why is responsibility for the abuse on the person getting abused? So when someone comes to you and asks, if you're speaking that way, and they say they're abused, don't ask them why they stay. Ask them what he hits. Ask them what they need to leave. What do they need from you? Those are better questions. It just sort of refocuses what's going on in the issue. So to give you a very brief overview of what we do with domestic abuse counseling. Our shelter is, of course, the flagship, and that is the main thing most people think of, somewhere safe to go. We do serve both men and women. We have an area specifically dedicated for male victims. We do serve people that are fleeing not just intimate partners, but other people in their lives. Over time, who's seeking shelter has changed. We are seeing more and more single women without children than we used to. It used to be primarily women with children, but we're seeing more and more women without children. And sadly, that is often because the state has already found it necessary to intervene and remove the children. So I'm seeing more and more women that have lost their children to domestic violence and state intervention. But let's say somebody's in a battering situation and they live with their mom. Well, if the partner is seeking to hurt them, they might hurt their mom. So I might need to shelter mom also. So if you know somebody who needs help, it isn't necessarily the primary victim. It could be the entire family that needs assistance. So just keep that in mind. We're seeing more and more same-sex abusers. People fleeing same-sex abusers, both men and women. So that's something you don't think about, but it does occur, and it's a pretty high rate of abuse as well. So we have the shelter, and while they're in shelter, it is not a lockdown facility. That's the biggest fear. Well, they're going to control me, but we are about empowerment. We don't think that a victim is unable to make responsible choices simply because she's a victim of domestic violence. She's a survivor, and we're going to support her in her decisions, even if that decision is to return to the battery. Not that they're going to tell you that necessarily. But we are not there to tell you what to do. We're there to find out what you want to do and how you can get to that point. It does the average a number of times it takes to leave an abusive relationship with the same partner. They stay around 8 or 9. Now that's the same partner. The tendency to go from abusive relationship to abusive relationship is very strong. The women we serve and the men we serve, what they have in common besides being victims is lack of resources. Now, if you were abused and you had the money, you could maybe go to a hotel on the other side of the country where he might never look for you. But if he controls your finances or you have no access to finances, you're going to call us. So our shelters is our main thing, but we also do outreach. We have support groups. We have outreach services that help people relocate and get access to funds for victims' compensation as well as relocation. We have programs that are going into the school and addressing not only dating violence, but gender equality and bullying. We have different programs based on the age of the children. And we've done curriculums locally with all the schools, as well as Child's Academy and Case Center for Girls. We've been really developing our prevention programs. We're trying to focus on catching it young. Because as you all probably know, if you're raised in a violent home, the chances that you're going to end up a victim or a loser are pretty high. You live what you learn. So we have lots of outreach. We have lots of services within the shelter. But it takes that first call. So I do have some brochures for anybody that wants to after this grab some. They include tear-off numbers to contact us. There's a 24-hour hotline. We've always staffed. It's not a machine. But I recommend that whoever calls us to when it's safe for you to talk to you. And keep in mind, with technology, be careful with phone use. That's another new trend is technology used to stop and endanger someone. So be careful. And then Never mind Facebook and all that. That's one thing we're really trying to help people learn about is the information we're getting out.